At the Causeway Stadium, he's fighting to save Wycombe from relegation and admits he would happily swap jobs with Arsene Wenger. Arsenal's former captain is convinced his old club will bounce back and win the league, despite their massive Champions League and FA Cup defeats.
For one reason or another, maybe a bit of tiredness, a bit of inconsistency, big players not playing at the right time. They've come a cropper in those two occasions, but they've got a fantastic team. It's only a matter of time. Probably win. They're going to win the Premiership, I would imagine. A
massive test of character.
It's self-inflicted. The keeper's made a mistake. You can't, legislate for things like that. So you need your big players playing well in them games, and it's just not happened for them. But like I say, over the course of a season, they're the best team.
The league leaders are without a win in their last 4 games, but according to Adams, the fans shouldn't panic just yet.
They've got a fantastic football team there and some great players, world-class players. He needs his world-class players to play now for the last few weeks of the season. So that's when the real class comes to the top, and I think they will.
So, with 8 games to go, the man who lifted the title trophy 2 seasons ago still expects Arsenal to win silverware this season. Brian Swanson, Sky Sports.
Only one place to start. Thierry Henry has spent the morning undergoing a fitness test ahead of Arsenal's game with Liverpool. Henry is suffering with a back injury. Arsene Wenger admits the lunchtime clash is just as important as the games against Manchester United and Chelsea. He also claims the Premiership is bigger than the Champions League.
And against the odds, leading scorer Thierry Henry might yet be fit. Liverpool the opponents today as Arsenal look to extend their unbeaten league run.
It's a different competition, and we have something at stake in the Championship, and we want to respond from our disappointment on Tuesday night. And of course we expect ourselves to be fit and fresh and sharp and responsive to our disillusion of Tuesday night.
Wenger admits his side have to be strong for the final run-in, though he believes everyone has learned from the recent setbacks.
Every defeat in my career still hurts today, so I cannot say if defeat doesn't hurt, you won't survive in this job. So you want to win, and when you lose, you're not happy, and it hurts, because if it wouldn't hurt, you have nothing to do in this job.
Victory, of course, would restore Arsenal's 7-point lead at the top, and that will be their focus against Liverpool.
We are the club where you want to win every game, and so the next one is the biggest one, and that's why I say as well we run for the 3 competitions, because we just considered always the next one as a target to win.
Another huge game looms for Arsenal this afternoon. Have the players got over the double disappointment of going out of the FA Cup and the Champions League? Arsene Wenger maintains his side do have the mental strength to cope. We'll find out soon enough. Nick Collins, Sky Sports.
Well, with kick-off less than an hour and a half away, let's join Nick Collins then live at Highbury. Nick, with 2 defeats in 3 days, what's the mood like in the Arsenal camp going into this one?
Well, I think it's fair to say that there is a degree of nervousness. They know how important this game is, and yes, the last week has been a pretty sobering experience for the players, obviously, with those 2 defeats. But this is the Premiership, this is the competition in which Arsenal have remained unbeaten in all season. 30 matches they've played. They're 4 points clear of Chelsea still with a game in hand. If they win today, then the lead is back up to 7 again. So there's an awful lot of positives that they'll draw on from their performances in the Premiership this season. But obviously, those 2 defeats are bound to have knocked the confidence a bit. And it really will be a case of seeing whether they can actually, if you like, get over the mental barrier as much as the physical one. I think that could be half the battle for them today. If they're up for it and confident enough and they get off to a good start, then I think we could see the Arsenal that has swept all before it in the Premiership. If Liverpool can exploit 1 or 2 uncertainties, and you never know, this could be another difficult afternoon for Arsenal. But the players will certainly be up for it. They can't wait to get back into action after what happened here on Tuesday night. And if Thierry Henry was to be fit to start, then I'm sure that would be a huge psychological boost for the whole team.
Indeed, Nick, I'm just wondering how much Arsene Wenger will be hoping that a good result here can spark a revival in form.
Yes, very much so. It shouldn't be forgotten, as I say, that Arsenal are unbeaten in the Premiership. They've beaten Liverpool up at Anfield earlier this season. They would expect to do the same here. But, of course, Liverpool themselves are coming back into some reasonable form. They look pretty impressive in beating Blackburn 4-0 last weekend. And, as I say, they will be looking to try and exploit any uncertainties that Arsenal may have. But Arsenal have got to just go back to their strengths. They haven't suddenly become a bad team overnight. Yes, they have had 2 setbacks, but they were setbacks against Manchester United, who had just the FA Cup to play for, and a Chelsea team who were absolutely inspired in the second half here. It wasn't that Arsenal played badly on Tuesday night, it was that Chelsea were absolutely exceptional. And I think they've got to look at themselves and say, if they can continue playing the way they have been in the league, then they will be all right. They are just 8 games away from winning the Premiership, and that's what they wanted to do when they set out this season, was to win the Premiership. So it may not be the glorious treble, but I'm sure they would settle for the Premiership trophy in the cabinet at the end of the season.
Liverpool are 25 points behind Arsenal, and their manager have said they've got 7 cup finals left. Each game is that important. Is there any concern about how much pressure the players may be under?
Well, yes, that's right. I mean, absolutely vital from Liverpool's point of view to hang on to that 4th place position, and anything they get here will help them consolidate it. But they know that the biggest problem they've had this season is consistency. They've put together 1 or 2 good results, and then just when you think they're going to unleash a good run, then they suffer a setback, and they'll be hoping that the same doesn't happen here. From Liverpool's point of view, as I say, a draw will be a good result. Obviously, they'll be going for victory as well. They'll hope that Arsenal's lapse just lately will carry on, but it's an intriguing game because obviously both sides absolutely desperate for the points. Both will be all out to win it, and of course the 2 managers firm friends from many years ago.
And all eyes once again on Michael Owen in the hope he can turn in another good performance.
Yes, absolutely. Michael Owen, 2 goals last weekend, and he of course has damaged Arsenal before. One thinks back to the cup final at the Millennium Stadium in 2001 when Arsenal were leading 1-0 with 10 minutes to go until Owen struck twice to take the cup away. So Arsenal players and fans alike know all about how much of a threat Michael Owen can pose if he's in form. So obviously they'll be looking to try and keep him quiet. But it is an intriguing match, this one, because Liverpool desperate to finish 4th. Arsenal will just want to carry on where they are. If they can pick up some points today, it'll send a huge message back out to Chelsea and Manchester United that Arsenal are still very much on course for the title.
OK, Nick Collins at Highbury, we'll leave it there for the moment. Many thanks.
There were some signs of nervousness.
The champions or the chokers? The last time Arsenal played a league game, they were record breakers, going through the 30-match unbeaten barrier. Theirs was a treble chance. 2 games later, 2 trophies lighter. The legs that had done all that front running were in danger of tying up.
We heard the one about Arsene Wenger, bought his airport last month. Selling it now because no doubles or trebles on it.
Suddenly all their eggs were in one Easter basket. The Professor Wenger had found his system infected by a virus, a nasty sort of nerve gas.
Your Liverpool away fanzine, £2, brand new issue. What have Arsenal and chocolate both got in common? They both melt down at Easter.
Injuries, a hectic schedule, and individual errors had taken their toll.
The players, they've got to prove it to the fans.
Faith is what it is, mate. Faith.
Losing a 9-point lead last season was meant to be the spur underpinning this year's excellence. Had the yips returned?
We couldn't deal well psychologically with the situation. We just want to bounce back in the next game.
Apparently, the Premiership's top scorer's fragile fitness mirrored Arsenal's mental state. But Thierry Henry had to go through the pain barrier for a match as important to Liverpool as it was to their Highbury hosts. Commentary from John Champion.
The cue, and here's Gerrard unmarked and turned in by Sami Hyypiä. After their awful week, just the start that Arsenal didn't want. Carman tangling with Gilberto. And it's Perez who emerges with the ball. And here's Henry! Liverpool appealed, albeit half-heartedly, for a foul. Nothing doing with the referee. Through the legs of Dudek for 1-1. Gerrard. he's picked up Michael Owen! Liverpool in front for a second time at Highbury. And how many times have those two hooked up? Gerrard to Owen. He's supposed to be injured. He's supposed to be down in the dumps. What a goal!
Nerve-affirming afternoon for the champions-elect. Nobody doubted their talent, and after this, few can question their bottle.
After the recent run, is that one of the most important wins you've had since you've been at Highbury?
For a long time, yes. For the spirit of the team, for the morale of the team, was a massive game.
I think it was tremendous today, the way they did support us, and I think we gave something back today.
Where would you place Thierry Henry right now in world players?
Probably the best in the world. I think that the game was decided when he had this wonderful individual moment of brilliance.
We needed it today. It was a big game, big win for us today, and it's, you know, keeps us going really.
Did Arsenal look like a team that had to come through a mental barrier today to you?
Well, they showed today why they are unbeaten in the league, and I think they will win the league.
Champions, not chokers, I think will probably be most of the headlines now.
I don't know. The headlines change quickly, so you do not have to look too much at that.
Well, Arsene Wenger certainly looking brighter than we've seen him all week. What a 6 days, and what a response from Arsenal.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gabby, looking at that result, that was the most important thing. It really was. People were asking questions, and rightly so, about Arsenal. A couple of defeats there, big defeats. How would they go yesterday against Liverpool? And, you know, it was a tremendous... The result was the most important thing, because, make no mistake about it, from Arsenal's point of view, it's a great confidence booster again. But Chelsea were just beginning to smell the blood, you know, and that's maybe put them off the scent a little bit.
Now, we were told that Thierry Henry had picked up an injury in the game against Chelsea, or that he was carrying something, perhaps, and we didn't expect him to feature at all. But feature he did. Can you play like that when you're carrying an injury, Clive?
Well, certainly didn't look as if he was carrying an injury in the game yesterday. And we see Thierry Henry at his best here. When he picks the ball up, confronted by probably 4 or 5 Liverpool defenders, pace, poise. The most important thing for me is the balance, the calmness in which he skips past defenders, but has the ability just to slide the finish into the far corner. That is absolutely sensational. You can see he's no right to go between 2, 3 defenders like that, but that's why Houllier said he's the best player in the world. For me, without a doubt, the best goal scorer, striker in the world at the moment.
Well, you mentioned there that Chelsea would have been, you know, just starting to smell a little bit of blood, thinking they were going to get into this title race. It does throw a different light on it, but let's have a little look at the run-in for the two of them, because really, after Arsenal's game against Newcastle tomorrow, they're running relatively straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, you can't put enough importance on that result against Liverpool. It was a magnificent result for them because they were under pressure. As I say, everybody was looking at them. Chelsea and Manchester United were looking at them as well. Make no mistake. Now, if they go to Newcastle and get a result, I would think it's certainly all over. And nobody can say they don't deserve it.
So you're still going for an Arsenal win?
I'm changing it now. I did say Manchester United at the start of the season.
And I was giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but I've got to be honest. It's not likely, but I've got to be honest. I did say it. But I think Arsenal will win it now.
Pass, it's Wilton! Wrong side of the post. Away from Shea Gibbon. The angle was too tight for Henry. When he's found Reyes, straight at Gibbon though.
In my opinion, Arsenal will win the league, and probably deservedly so on the way they've played all season, and they are still unbeaten. And amazing, it's a unique situation.
6 games to go, 3 at home, and we have a big game on Friday night, and we can a little bit recover and prepare again, because that's, the home games will be very important.
So make that 32 games unbeaten. We'll see how their main rival got on today in a moment. Plus
Well, and I would say, looking at in their own hands, looking at a Birmingham game, to win it in front of their home fans and to stay unbeaten to that point will be magnificent. For me, Gabby, the real battle's about second place. Look at Chelsea and Manchester United now. United will feel that they want to try and get that automatic second spot. But the Champions League holds the key for me with Chelsea. 4 days after they play the first game against Monaco, they go to Newcastle. 3 days after they play the second game, they play Manchester United. Those 2 games will be key and will be whether they can hold on to second place or not.
Now, Ranieri and Abramovich have got a little summit meeting this week. The last thing he wants is a vote of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't need any support, Claudio Ranieri. He works better when they're not behind him. He'll win the Champions League and then say, support me now.
Wiltor, Bergkamp, and this is Robert Pires. Arsenal ahead inside 6 minutes. A simple but special goal. Lauren Batley. Now Gilberto. Dinking one through for Henry, who's onside. It's Thierry Henry. And of course it's 2-0. Bergkamp. Wiltor, back with Bergkamp, handball appeals, given. Penalty Arsenal. Dubry's night goes from bad to worse. Thierry Henry going for his second. Oh, that is brilliant. You can only stand and admire. Bergkamp. Gilberto, leaving Lucas Radebe behind. Glorious ball through. Henry going for the hat-trick. Is there anybody better in world football right now than Thierry Henry? 4-0. Here's Pires. He's looking for Wiltor. Wiltor, Arsenal's 5th on the cards. Well, they don't always score. From Pires, Henry's charging through. Oh, surely not. Henry! It's unbelievable! His 150th Arsenal goal from 146 to 150 in one night. Henry has held off Matteo. Here's Reyes. Turning past Dubry. Reyes! Good save, Robinson.
The result of that came at a poor time for us, but I mean, I've said to the players, we're not going to play against players like that every week, and we've just got to forget about that and just look at the task ahead and hopefully pick points up, enough points to survive.
What chance that you can end this season unbeaten in the Premiership now?
I don't know. I think we go for the next one. The next one is a big one as well, and then what we know now is the Highbury form will certainly be decisive for the Championship, but we are strong away as well, and that's another. We have now time to rest, to recover, and to focus on Tottenham, and then we'll see.
So this is how the top 3 looks right now, and Arsenal are, of course, 10 points ahead. They only need 6 more points to guarantee the title, and that's assuming that everybody around them keeps on winning, as Manchester United aren't doing at the moment. They won't admit it, of course. Arsene won't concede that it is theirs, but it is, isn't it?
Oh, it's all over. It really is, Gabby. That was an absolute joy to watch. With Superman up front there, it was an incredible performance, and in many ways, I've got to be honest, I'm absolutely delighted. When Chelsea knocked him out the Champions League and United knocked him out the Cup, you know, everybody looked to see if there was a wee wobble there and looked to the next game in the league against Liverpool. They were outstanding, and make no mistake about it, they've been the best team in the league, and it would be a travesty had they not gone on and won the league.
As a man who knows how to score a goal or two, I think you'll enjoy just eulogising a bit about Thierry Henry for us, Clive. I mean, his goals haven't just been flying in, they've been so beautiful and so impressive, haven't they?
Well, it just about has everything, Gabby. I think at the moment, this is just a sensational 4th. When he breaks through with his pace, but for me, the clip of his heels, he's falling. So many players would have just dived and looked for the penalty, but he actually just side-foots it in the bottom corner. That is sensational.
It's magic, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Absolutely magic.
Can you see anybody else getting a look in for PFA Player of the Year?
No, no.
OK, thanks for the moment. Well,
It's a big game. If we don't win it, then it's going to be very tough. You know, Man City are 2 points above us, but if we can win that game there, you know, that's going to give us a great boost and then a much better chance of escaping relegation.
Watching your training earlier, you see all the players that are available, and you think, why on earth are a side like Leeds United in this kind of position?
there's some great players there, and we shouldn't be in the position we are, because it's a massive club, and and the players that are here, we should be in a high position. But if football's a word game, you can be a great team, but and not perform well on the pitch, and that's what it all boils down to. We haven't performed to the best of our abilities. But nobody wants to leave the Premiership. That's where it's all happening.
Where do you see yourself next season? I know Arsene Wenger was complimentary about you after Arsenal thrashed Leeds last week.
Well, at the end of the season, I've got to go back to Arsenal, so at the moment I see myself back at Arsenal. And if I've got to fight for my place, I'm more than willing to do that. And it's nice to know that he said that I want him back to fight for his place.
Is it a little bit frustrating watching a side that you could have been part of playing so well?
It's a bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, I'm at Leeds doing my job, which, I'm in a relegation battle, and that's what I came here to do. And if Arsenal said we want you back now, I'd be very disappointed, because I've been here all season, doing a good job for Leeds, and I want to keep them up.
Do you feel they maybe could have given you greater opportunity in the past?
Well, it could have, but at the end of the day, that's his decision. He's a manager, and he's won titles with Arsenal, and there was a bit of mishaps, off the pitch, so I can't fault him for that. But now, I put everything straight, and I'm just looking hopefully to get back in the team.
What did you put it down to before? Was it just things that 18, 19-year-olds do?
Yeah, it's just little things, bending the rules a little bit, just because you're young. But when you're young, you do silly things. People, you've got to live your life, But now, your football comes first. You've got to think about your career. And I've known that the mistakes I've been making can cost costly to my career. So I'm going to make sure they don't happen again and keep on the straight and narrow.
And what do you think you can ultimately achieve in the game?
Oh, you could achieve anything. I can, if I really wanted to, if I put my mind to it, I can be, another Thierry. Maybe not as good because he's on fire at the moment. But I could be up there if I really wanted to.
There's quite a lot of pressure on you, isn't there? Football fans have known the name of Jermaine Pennant for 6 or 7 years, and you're still incredibly young.
Yeah, I'm still young, but I'm cracking on now, 21. So,
Do you feel a bit of a veteran now, do you?
Not at all. This is my first season in the game, so hopefully if I do a couple more seasons, I'll make a better name for myself and get bigger in the game, and get on the international scene, and then I might feel like a veteran.
So World Cup 2006, earliest realistic?
Yeah, it's not out of the way. It's 2 years away. So hopefully, if I carry on playing well, if I play regularly next season, and that's what it's all about. Sven's watching, and you're doing well for your club week in, week out. I can't see why it won't pick you.
Well, we'd all like to be another Thierry Henry, but how do you think he's got on at Leeds this season?
I think it's been good for him, and I think I've seen a few of Leeds games. I think throughout the last 4, he's actually done really, really well. But hey. So there's a massive step from playing for Leeds, where they are at the moment, and playing for Arsenal, and the quality that is Arsenal. I think he's still got a lot to prove, Mark. And in terms of being a regular for Arsenal, he's still got a long, long way to go. But, and this is a great thing for him, he's got the talent. No one's arguing that he has definitely got the talent. Does he really want it bad enough? Only time will tell.
I mean, you'll know, Lee. He was 15, I think, when he turned up at Arsenal. Yeah. So obviously you played with him in training, or you've seen him,
Kicked him in training.
Couldn't catch him. Like Mark said, he's got the ability. There's no question about that. And we've shown in little bits and bobs at Arsenal that he nearly got in the team, then he wasn't quite good enough. And as he said, the gap between, no disrespect to Leeds, but Leeds and Arsenal at this moment in time is huge. The fact that he's playing regular at Leeds is brilliant for him. Whether he's got it attitude-wise, that's my only question about him, because his ability's not in question. But I think this loan spell at Leeds is giving him a little bit of a taste, and I think he likes it.
And would you say next season's make or break with him, where maybe with Freddie Ljungberg not at his best, he's had a whole season, been hardened to the Premiership?
For sure, make or break at Arsenal. I think the manager will be looking at him very closely. Now, whether that might be too high a standard for him, we don't know, and only time will tell. And maybe he'll move down the division a little bit, but he's certainly got the ability to play in the Premiership without question.
We will see. Well, we'll be live at Old Trafford ahead of the Manchester United-Liverpool game shortly, but Arsenal could win the title at White Hart Lane tomorrow. If Chelsea fail to win at St James's Park, then Arsenal will be champions if they beat Tottenham. Shades of 1971, when they won the championship on the ground of their big rivals, a day Bob Wilson and Steve Perryman remember well.
Stop Arsenal. Stop the championship. Stop that run.
This is, in many respects, the most important game of the season.
here was our chance to stop the big rivals.
We had to go there to either win by any score or draw 0-0. If it was 1-1, Leeds won.
Kennedy!
Myself, Alan Gilzine, Martin Peters, Pat Jennings, we weren't good enough to stop them, and we weren't bad.
Perryman. It's Pearce. Perryman! Brilliant!
Let's suppose that Spurs have a good day on Sunday. What will it mean to the Spurs fans?
In a poor season, with a lot happening, it will mean everything. It will mean everything. As far as the supporters are concerned, they must stop this happening.
If Spurs were to win the game, Bob, would it take the gloss off Arsenal's season?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it would be just one of those. It would be one of those things that Tottenham fans would certainly hurl at Arsenal. But you know, you ask any of them whether they would change places, Garth, and the answer is they would give anything to be in the position that Arsenal have been in now since Arsene Wenger came.
What I can't believe in all this, and maybe I'm strange and maybe I'm sort of a supporter of Glenn, but Tottenham honestly think that they're better with Glenn Hoddle out the way, having been paid, and John Gorman, who were running England a few years ago, better out the way with no manager. That must be the biggest slap round the face for Glenn Hoddle ever, and I'm not very happy with that, I have to say.
It'd be an incredible irony for anyone connected with Tottenham to think that their one-time idol Sol Campbell returns to White Hart Lane to pick up the championship.
Well, this will charge. There's no doubt that it'll charge the Spurs players and the whole of the management side and the whole of the fans. I mean, they don't obviously want it to happen.
Well, I have to say, Bob, Arsenal going to White Hart Lane and lifting the Premiership title still filled me with dread, but it was good to talk to you anyway.
You've done well, Garth, to get the questions out, and with a smile.
And not get seasick.
We've got to get home yet. We've got to get home. Are you ready for it?
Garth's still a little bit queasy. He joins us, and we're going to talk to him in a minute about a more serious matter altogether, that the implications of Ron Atkinson's comments concerning Marcel Desailly. Lee, as for Arsenal tomorrow, if they do win the championship, when they win the championship, it seems likely, will they look at it as a great season, or they're a little bit frustrated because of what happened in Europe in the FA Cup?
I think a couple of weeks ago they'd have been really disappointed and say, oh, we've only got the championship to go for, but that's out of the way now. And they set out at the start of the season to win the championship, and anything else is a bonus. I think that before this team can start to be called great, which it's on the verge of, they've got to produce in Europe. The championship's in the bag. It's a case of next season just really having a push at this the Champions League, which, you know, they failed. If you look at it, they have failed in that department, but it's bordering on a great team.
Dramatic championship clinchers are Arsenal's speciality.
It's up for grabs now! Thomas! And in by Wiltshire! They want it, and they want it now! Fantastic!
And for Gooners of a certain age, nothing tops 1971.
The greatest night ever was to win the championship at White Hart Lane.
I'll remember the goal, Ray Kennedy's goal, mainly because I missed it. I was there with my old man, and I turned round to the bloke standing behind me, and I've gone, we're going to do this now. And by the time I turned back, of course, everybody's just going absolutely mental because Ray Kennedy stuck in the winning goal.
At the end of the game, I lost it totally. I mean, I suddenly found myself actually doing a jig with the referee.
These days, Arsenal can only be envied by the neighbours. It's over a decade since they last finished below Spurs. 43 points separate the clubs this season. Arsene Wenger's taken the Gunners to a new level, and this team may be the best yet.
I just hope everybody realises how lucky we are, really, how privileged we are to watch that mob.
I look at Brazil in 70, I look at Holland in 74.
There isn't a football fan in the country who calls Arsenal boring anymore. They can't do that.
How is it that Arsenal have pushed on almost to a new level, a different level to Spurs over the years?
Well, excellent management over a period of time, excellent selection of management, patience with the management. They've got the most effective forward that there's been in British football as long as I can remember.
For Tottenham, the timing of the derby could barely be worse. Tomorrow's match may just emphasise how far behind Spurs have fallen. 5 defeats in 6 has fired up the critics who fear relegation. Patience is the plea from inside White Hart Lane.
3 players have become England internationals this year. I mean, Gardner, King and Defoe. So we've got a wealth of good young players here, but we have to get the right muscle and the right leadership and the right signings around them.
So patience required?
A catalyst. We need a catalyst on that field.
How long could it be before Spurs could challenge Arsenal again for honours?
We don't know. How long is a piece of string? As soon as possible.
One day, perhaps, they will challenge Arsenal again for honours. Until then, spoiling the party will have to do.
Hopefully we can stop them, give our supporters something to cheer about, stop us getting grief at work as well on a Monday.
Come 4 o'clock or 4:05 or whenever it is on Sunday, it's Arsenal Spurs.
They can go down, but they've got to beat Arsenal. That is how important the game is.
And Arsenal Spurs is what Arsenal Spurs has been since time. Since Arsenal moved over from Woolwich, as you know, Spurs supporters never seem to get tired of reminding us.
It is just as big and will always remain so, regardless of the status of the two clubs.
Because of the circumstances of this game, Arsenal will be expected to win.
You cannot beat the feeling of winning the league, and you can't beat the feeling of winning the league at a rival's ground. What it'll be like on Sunday, have to ask Sunday.
So just to clarify matters, if Chelsea fail to win at Newcastle and Arsenal do win at White Hart Lane, Arsenal are champions. But does it matter as an Arsenal player where you win the title?
I think it does. I think for a while now we knew that Arsenal were going to win it. It's a matter of how can they make this title win special. And there's 2 reasons for me. One will be to stay the whole season unbeaten, and the other is to go and win it at White Hart Lane. Your fiercest rivals on that day, go and make sure you pick the trophy up.
Now, David Pleat has seen probably more players than anybody else in this country. So when he comes out and says that Thierry Henry is the most effective forward he has ever seen,
I think it's difficult to argue with David when you see Henry, as he was against Leeds the other night, almost running past international defenders as though they're not there. You know, a little bit like the kid in the playground, the centre forward in the playground who runs past everyone and scores goals. Henry's doing this in the Premiership at just an unbelievable level.
Pleaty also says he needs a catalyst on the field. I wonder if they need a catalyst off the field as well.
Well, I'm not sure about catalyst. I think they need a big-name manager to go in there. I just felt the club over the course of this season have become a bit rudderless since Glenn left in this caretaker position, not quite knowing who's in charge. They need a big manager who's going to go in and make some big decisions and almost break this team up and rebuild again. And as well as that, Angus, they've got to have backing from the board. You can't do this on cheap. If you're looking at Arsenal and trying to achieve something that they've achieved, you've got to go and spend some money.